Well, welcome back to another episode of Paint Society, the channel where the learning doesn't stop when the video ends. Today, in this episode, this is the paint job that no painter ever really wants to get. Don't overthink it, it's just paint. And thanks again for joining me on this episode. If you're new to the channel, my name is Brian, and this is a channel where we learn from do-it-yourselfers all the way up to professional level. Now in this video, this is the type of paint job that, well, no painter really wants to ever get for many factors. And that number one factor being that this actual car has been repainted and it's got no color code. It's got some weird custom color on it that we have no idea what it is. That's number one. And well, the second part is this car is filled with Tony Yang parts. If you don't know what that is, they're aftermarket parts that might not be the highest quality. Yeah, they fit, but we don't know what they're prepared with. And number three, well, this car's had many paint jobs. This hood alone, when we went to go strip it, I think we counted up to 9 layers of paint. But let me get you caught up as to where we're at and how we got to this point right now. So the story with this car is it belongs to one of our shop employees, a good friend of mine and of the shop, John from Acura Honda Classic, and he just bought this vehicle for very cheap. And what we're gonna do is we're just gonna finish up the front end. The front end had a black hood, it had no front, and we just wanna make it look better. Now this particular vehicle has had a paint job, and the paint job is on a scale of 1 to 10 is around a 4. It's got a lot of defects from runs to fish eyes to a lot of different areas in the paint that have shrunk and sand scratches. So in order for me to actually match the paint job on this vehicle, I not only have to match the color, but I'm probably gonna have to leave some dirt in the paint to make it look uniform. So with that said, the whole object with this car is to draw the line somewhere. Sometimes as professionals, we want to do the very best job we can. So we have to draw the line somewhere. Where do we draw the line? So let's start off with the hood. Now when we took the hood in and had around 9 layers of paint, what we wanted to do is do some Bondo work where we need it. So we stripped the whole front end where all of the dents were. We wanted to work that area a little bit, so we stripped it down to metal and we put a little bit of glazing filler just to kind of smooth out that area a little bit. And as we sanded it down, we could see that it had a bunch of paint. So if this were to be more a restoration job, the right way to do that is to strip the whole entire hood down to metal, but we're just not doing that on this vehicle. Now as we move along to the bumper, it was an aftermarket bumper, so the same process for preparing parts. We sanded it down with a P320, and once it was all done, we gave it a little bit of a wash. And the same thing over for the fender, a new fender, and we took that down with our P320, sanded it down and gave it a good wash. Now it came over to the door. Now the ideal way to do is take everything off. Well, this car was painted with everything on, and we're not gonna start taking parts off that could potentially break. We just wanna make this thing look better. There's not a whole lot of money in the budget, and there's not a whole lot of money in the resale value of the vehicle. So we took our P600 and we scuffed everything down. We also found an area that had some chips, so we feathered that out, and we saw the old color underneath, more of like a turquoise, lighter green. So we'll do a little repair there if we can. And then we got into the booth, and that's exactly where it sits right now. And the biggest issue you're gonna have is trying to find a color for something that was just custom made. Who knows if this is even a color code? All I know is the whole entire car is painted this from the engine bay all the way into the door jamb. So there's not a lick of the other color unless you sand it down to the under layer. So what I did is first thing is you wanna take the camera reading and give you a good idea if there's any color within the system. So I took the camera reading over to the car, took a reading of it. It gave me a very good match, but when I went to go take a look at the chip, the match was a completely different color. So the camera actually thought it got me a good match. That wasn't the case when I went to go look at the chip. So the second way I try to find the proper color is I'll just go right into my color deck and I'll just physically look at the colors and see what I got. And I narrowed it down to about 3 different colors that were very close. So I started to get a little happy. I found one color that worked very well, and what I did from there is I did a spray out of that color, mixed up that color, and I could see that the color, it was close, but it was a little bit too dark. So what I did is I'm gonna use that color for my base, okay? I took that same exact color, I remixed it again, but I left out about, I would say, 20% of the black, and I added a little bit more of white transparent gray along with a little bit more violet to kind of turn that color to a little bit more greener and a little bit paler and a little bit lighter, and the end result was a much more blendable color that I think is going to work. So the way we're going to attack this is we're going to seal it, and then we're going to put down our base that is a little bit off but going to give us good coverage, and then we're going to put down that color that matches. So let's get right into it. We're ready for sealer, and when we're going to be doing our sealer, I'm going to mix up something kind of my own mixture, just a few colors, and I'm going to see if I can get it to like a darkish grayish green to kind of help me out here. So let's take a look at what this gives me. I kind of like that. I kind of like that. Let's roll with this. Let me have my hardener and my my reducer, and let's spray it on the car. We're ready for our sealer. This is what I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna seal my whole entire fender. If it's got a little bit of breakthrough, the sealer will cover it, it's fine. If it's bigger than a coffee mug, then you wanna put some etch or something on it. The whole hood will get sealed. This is the plastic grill, raw plastic, so I'm gonna put adhesion promoter on it first, and then sealer. This is primered aftermarket. It doesn't need adhesion promoters. You can jump right to sealer. Over here, this is our blend fender. We're blending this so that the color matches, okay? So what we'll do is I'll pop some etch on there because it's a big spot, and then we'll seal into here, and we'll seal just the top of the fender. Then we'll put clear base over it so it's nice and smooth. Same thing in the door over here. We'll put a little bit of sealer so that our color is all consistent with our fender. The undercoats is very important. And then we had a little bit of a chip I feathered out with 600. I'll put a little sealer on that, keep it small. We're burning in the A-pillar. It's an older car, but we want the color to match. So we're gonna go ahead and do that, and that's that. All right, let's go ahead and let's get started. Sealer is all down, all right? You saw us on our blend panels, our fender, put down sealer, and then we put down our blending additive, clear base, inner coat clear, a few different names for it. You wanna put that stuff down right away, and don't put it over your sealer. You only really need to put it at the edge. It's okay if it gets on the sealer, but you don't need to. I'll put a link to some House of Color blending additive on Amazon that you guys can get. You might even notice on the fender, there's a small dent, all right? We have to leave some of this stuff. It might hurt your pride a little bit, but this car overall is gonna look 100 times better. So this is my only concern, not because we put sealer over it, but my room. But you see how nice that looks once you put the clear base over it? This right here, super smooth, guys. Perfect. All right, over here, super smooth. Look how smooth that is. All right. So basically what we have is on the front end, all of our sealer parts, and we blended our sealer into where it's going to butt up. That way we can ensure it's all going to match. Now what I did over here is I took off the plastic and the tape. I know what I need to do. I need to do the black after. You know, I need to do the black after so I have a cleaner line. You can't mask these off and peel off the tape and expect it to be perfect. So I just do the black after. It's much easier to mask. Hood's looking fine. Grill looks great. We'll do the black after on this one as well. Let's start spraying some base coat. All in base, but not the right color. I told you guys we had that color initially that we did a spray out of that was too dark. Well, it didn't go to waste. We used that for the coverage coat, all right? Now, we don't want to take that coverage coat too far because it doesn't match. But you can see everything's nicely covered. And what we're gonna do now is we're gonna use the correct color. Now, I showed you before on the spray outs that we have two different colors once again. Now, if we take a look at the original color we just used, you can see it's much darker than that of the lighter greener color. So this is the one I tinted. Now, for this particular one, we only have about 12 ounces, so it's gonna go right over. Hopefully we can get out of it in 1.5 coats. But when we looked before, this is the color that matches much better, but this will cover over this much easier, so we can see the difference between the two. Same color, but manipulated and tinted a little bit to make it work for our custom color. Everything's based up. I'm really happy with the way it looks. I think we got a pretty good color match. Everything is going to be blended, so everything's going to match. The only particular area where we could have a little bit of mismatch might be in this area because the door is so close to the fender, but I think we're pretty good. I used the one of my toners to wash it out. It's like a grayish white. I needed to dole out and pale out the color just a little bit. And I think on this batch, it's gonna look much better. So we're using the DV1 clear coat gun. Love this guy right here. These are my two go-to guns. And the clear we're using is UTEC Select, a very good all-around clear. Won't break the bank either, has a beautiful gloss. Guys, let's get spraying. Got it all clear, 2 coats of clear. I ended up putting 3 on here. That's why we kind of moved this over. This came out super nice. Super nice. In an ideal world, you take off the door handle, you take off the molding, but I mean, the blend looks fantastic. Super happy with that. Over here, the fender, new fender, that came out super clean, super nice. Probably too nice for the car. I popped the grill up here. That is good. And then of course we have the bumper over there. We'll let this all dry up and then we'll take it out. I'll get John to put everything back together. We'll check out our color and then we'll go from there. We just got the car out of the paint booth and John just took it and he's doing a full assembly. Now once it's back, we're going to go ahead, we'll pull it back into our shop, give it a nice wash and buff the panels that were not painted. Let's get rolling. All right, so we got the car all finished up and it is looking really, really good. Really happy with our color match and our blend. We worked really hard to get a color this good. Now, if we spent a little bit more time on it, we probably could have gotten a little bit lighter, but I'm really happy with the way it looks and the time that we spent on it. We didn't go too crazy for what the car is worth. We did what we needed to do, and you can see that the panels, once they're buffed up, it looks a lot better. Now, there's a lot more work to do on the vehicle. We're gonna go ahead and do some cheap fixes. We're gonna go ahead and paint these black, and then John's got a few more tricks to kind of get this thing running up and looking good. But take a look at the black in the grill. Take a look on the lower half when we did the grill. Also the front lip, I showed you guys that we just painted that, got that all painted up. And now the sun comes out, you can see that the it's got like a metallic to it. It's a beautiful, beautiful color. We're really happy with the way that came out. New headlights, John got it all lined up. Let me know what you guys think. Do you think we did a good job? We have a couple more things we still need to do, but let me know if you like the color. Let me know if you think it looks good. Let me know if you think we did a good job on the blending. Anything that you would have done different on this one for the age of the car. At this time, we kind of have to draw the line. We can't put too much more money into it. We got it looking good. We're happy. And I think the owner over there, he's pretty happy as well. So guys, this is Brian from Paint Society reminding you, don't overthink it. It's just paint. I'll see you guys on the next episode.